All right, welcome to another episode of the Collector Car Podcast. I have a great episode this week. Interviewed an artist, which I always like to do as much as possible. I really appreciate the work that they do, and I am a failed artist, so I have a deep appreciation for their skill sets. But before we get to that, I do want to make a couple of announcements here or updates. First off, is that if you're not on my newsletter, shoot me an email, Greg at the Collector Car Podcast, and I can add that to you ASAP. And then also, the window to consign at RM Sotheby's Scottsdale auction is closing quickly. Technically, the last date is November the 21st for all contracts to be signing in. But there's always time before that we need to make sure that we review the car appropriately. So if you would like my help to review one of your cars to potentially consign to Scottsdale or Miami, please let me know. The Scottsdale auction, I believe, is around January the 25th of next year. And then the Miami auction happens during the weekend of Moto Miami, and I believe the auction is actually on the 28th, and then you'll have the really incredibly cool car show around that. So let's get to the interview. A couple notes from my sponsor first, and as always, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and I appreciate your support. Your car deserves the best. That's why my Pontiac GTO and Porsche Boxster S are wrapped in California car covers. Since 1989, they've been family-owned and focused on quality, offering more than 100,000 patterns plus fully custom options. Protect your passion with California Car Cover, the world's softest custom-fit covers. Learn more at calcarcover.com. Imagine a journey so rare it only happened once. That's the spirit behind Once. Exclusive, one-time-only adventures that will never be repeated. Our next experience, American Muscle Legends, takes you trackside with the most iconic cars in history, complemented by luxury accommodations and behind-the-scenes access you simply can't buy. Spots are limited. When it's gone, it's gone. You can learn more at discoveronce.com/muscle. RM Sotheby's is the world's largest collector car auction house by total sales. They are the preeminent market maker of high-quality collector cars and collections, regardless of size or complexity. By working in partnership with the Sotheby's team and its network of 80 offices in 40 countries, RM Sotheby's has established the largest client network of any collector car auction house in the world. Join the RM Sotheby's family by connecting with one of their car specialists at rmsotheby's.com or contact me directly at GStanley at rmsotheby's.com. All right, welcome to the Collector Car Podcast. I've got a fun one here. For most of you, maybe know this. I don't know if you know this or not, but I am a failed artist. So anytime I have a real artist on my podcast, I really love it. So I'd like to welcome Ian Espich. Ian, how you doing today?
Hey, good, Greg. Thanks. Good to be here.
Yeah, so if you're not joining us online on YouTube, your background, I thought originally was some sort of generated, photography, but actually you're in your art studio with some incredible prints behind you or original artwork behind you.
That's right. Yeah, there we go. I can touch them.
Yeah. So tell me, what do you do exactly? What is your, I guess, your medium of choice?
Yeah, medium of choice is acrylic. Um, but I've been painting my whole life. I've been painting for 30 years. My dad's an artist. I always have been too. But I've been painting a long time. And I started with scenery, flowers, dogs. Over COVID, I taught myself how to paint portraits, like presidential portraits. So I have a whole series of those. But then after I did those, after COVID, it was like, my ultimate passion is cars. Why am I not painting cars? And then I started thinking back and, when I was a little kid and that term poster car, we always use that that endearing term, but it only references like a small group of us that were born in like the 80s and 90s. It's like a nostalgic term, but it's something that I look back to because my room was full of posters. I mean, I had posters on the ceiling, but the one that I truly remember the most was that white Ferrari Testarossa, and it was a 6-foot painting or a 6-foot poster, and it said Miami Vice on the bottom of it, and it was just so cool. I mean, it wasn't only that. There was a Countach in my room and a Viper, and those were the cars that I looked at that was just like, man, I'm gonna have those one day. That's how you dreamed when you were young, right? There was no internet, so you had posters. you can't find those posters anymore. They're all gone. They don't sell them anymore. Sometimes you can find them on eBay for $100 or something if you want to pay that for a poster. So I was like, why don't I just recreate one of those? So I was like, well, what do I start with? And of course, it was like a cobra. I need to do a cobra. So I found this. That's the one you see right behind my shoulder there. And it was this picture that I found on the internet. It was a very small, low resolution image, but it was a picture that somebody took at a track of this cobra, and somebody pulled that cobra behind their RV to the track back in the 1970s. But somebody like captured this beautiful framed shot of this cobra with the RV behind them. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is so cool. It was so low res that I was like, can I do this?
Right.
Whatever. I but I was like, I'm just gonna do it. I can do it. I'll use other source pictures to get details or whatever. So I did it, and it was like, all right, this is pretty cool. My wife even liked it. She was like, that's really good. I like that. Because normally wives don't like cars like all over the house. But I'm very fortunate, and she's been amazing and has stayed beside me this whole time and this car thing that I'm doing right now. Um, but then my family started coming over and they saw the Cobra and they were like, "Oh my gosh, that's the coolest one you've ever done. You need to do more of those." I was like, "Really?" They're like, "Yeah, do more." I'm like, "Okay, maybe I'm onto something here." So I haven't stopped painting cars for the last like 2.5 years. I've been doing it. Um, I mean, it takes me like 2, 3 months to do like one because I'll soak like almost 50 hours into one car.
Right. Yeah.
In between work and doing everything else. This isn't what I do full time, but
Wow. Well, that's amazing. I love the comment you said about poster cars and there being no internet back then. Because you're right. Because I grew up in the non-internet age, and
right.
that was it. Like, if you had that poster on your bedroom wall, you fixated on that. It wasn't like you could flip to 30 other pictures of it.
You couldn't.
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah, there was, I remember I had, gosh, I would get magazines like old road track magazines. I don't even think I had subscriptions to them, but I would find them like at the flea market or whatever. And I still have it. I have this like album, those like cardboard pages where you peel off the plastic and you can stick something in there. But I would cut out all the car pictures and like make my own book. So I could flip through those like the Ferrari section, the Shelby section, the Porsche section, because I would save all those because there was no internet. You didn't have any other. Of
Yeah.
course, you're going to collect the cars that you want.
Well, as you can see in the background, this is my office, and I got a ton of posters around me and pictures and such. And I'll
Yes.
move my camera here for a second because one of them. So there's the 1970 World Championship with a Porsche 917 on it. I
Oh,
just happened to buy a Porsche collection of posters, and the one I kept, I don't know if you can see it up there, the 930, red
okay.
930 turbo leaving. And I've been told I tried to find that on the website or
Yeah.
anywhere, and apparently it's a rare dealer poster,
Oh,
and it's
wow.
just amazing because it shows the whale tail and it's from behind the 930 iconic. I think it's even blurred background and everything, and that's exactly what we're talking about. That could have been. I mean, not that exact one, but that could have been in someone's, I'm sure, kid's bedroom wall, and he's dreaming about Porsche 930s. And
Yeah.
ironically, I just came across an unrestored 930 original owner with less than 6,000 miles
Oh,
that
wow.
looks just like that car. So if I can get that car and put it next to that poster, that would be pretty cool.
Wouldn't that be cool? I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just recreating these things like on another level. I mean, ultimately, I would like to have these cars in my garage. That's what I set out to do. Is what I want to do. Um, but I don't have that, and I understand. I'm always conflicted with how to invest my money and like delayed gratification. I need to invest here before I have the fun stuff over here. So when I
Right.
paint these things, I want them to be like real. I want to feel them. I want to see them. I want to entrench myself in all the details of them. When I walk by and look at them, it's like there's always something new that I remember all the time that I spent on that one wheel or that one headlight. Um, and I just enjoy when other people see them too, and they have the same feeling. Like, oh wow, you like how long did it take you to do this? That's what everybody always asks. Um, but I want to feel these cars. That's why I spend so much time in the details. I want it to be real.
Right.
Um, so many people like, I mean, there's so many different types of artists, and they all do different things, and many of them do like abstract stuff, and which is really cool. I really don't understand it still to this day. Um, it's neat. There's lots of interest in it, and sometimes there's great stories behind them, but it's like, well, I can barely like make out like what is it? But I know what it is. I can kind of see it. So mine's kind of like the opposite of that. I want the real thing.
Right. Yeah. And so tell us, first off, we can see the 64 AC Cobra behind you. And
Yes.
we can also see, I'm looking on your website, which is gumball-gallery.com. I'll put that in the link.
Yes.
I see the 78 Lamborghini behind you. And then one I don't see on the website yet is the Speed Yellow 4 GT. Is that a new piece?
Yeah, that's the one I just finished like 2 weeks ago. So I'll get that up on the website here real shortly. Um, After I finish them, then I take it over to my photographer, and he's my printer too, and he photographs them, and then that's how I get my prints from that. So yeah, I'll get that out there. But I just finished that yellow one.
Yeah.
Um,
Now tell us the dimensions because these are larger format and I really like the dimension of these.
yeah, so I stick with that same 6 foot poster format that I had when I was a kid. So every one I do is 6 foot
By what, 2.5 feet, 3 feet?
by 29 inches, 29 to 30 inches.
Okay.
Yeah, so under 3 feet, just over two, but they're all 6 foot long. And I think that's how you get the most impact when you walk out to it. And that's as big as I can get to fit in my car too. Because you got to be able to transport these things somehow. Um, and when they're all framed up, they're pretty big and awkward.
Now, I'm assuming that you do commissions, I would assume. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I do commissions too. I've done one so far, a BMW, 2002. But I'm just getting started with this and just getting myself out there at shows. So that's always the question is like, do you do commissions? Of course I do. Um, it may be hard for me to do a commission of a car that I don't have a true passion for, but I'd still put the same amount of time into it. Um, so all the cars that I have created so far those are, I mean, I engross myself with the details of them. I love doing research on them, watching videos on them, reading books on them while I'm painting them. So that way I can just understand what I'm painting better. And it's fun. I love doing that, right? I mean, I just finished that GT, but next I'm working on the new GTD because that car is just amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Now all of them are in profile view, correct?
Yeah, right now I'm doing all profiles because I'm sticking and I'm still locked into that 6 foot poster and all profiles. And it's like, why the profiles? I think it's because I ultimately car designers they want to create a striking silhouette. And that's mainly where they start is like, what's this car going to look like from the side? And I mean, if turn the lights out and you just have it lit up, it's like, oh my gosh, that's it. It's just a striking silhouette, and that's what I'm going after. Um, I think that's what captures all the light that comes down on it, the reflections. You get to see the wheels and 3/4 view. A usually unforgettable image that you have. And I mean, if you're doodling at school or whatever, usually you do a little profile of the car. Um,
Yeah, and I love this picture on your website of back when you had that white Miami Vice
oh
Testarossa
yeah,
6 foot poster.
yes,
That is awesome. You also have a Saab logo.
yes, because
This
that's
is this had to be what, the mid 80s, late 80s?
I think that was the picture was from like 1991.
It's so timeless because I think Larry Bird, Michael
Oh,
Jordan figurines. I see a pencil sharpener attached to the side of the desk and a little small tube TV and a bunch of airplane models. That's an
yeah,
awesome
you saw that
picture.
little tube TV, right? You know, the little black and white TV,
Yeah.
like dial a thing in like a radio, get a station or two.
Yeah, that picture is such a moment in time. I wonder if, like, did your mom take the picture? Was she sneaking up there? Or
No, it was my grandma that took that picture. And I was going through an album just a couple years ago, and I was flipping through, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, she actually like captured my room. I didn't even know it at the for years." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, my grandma, she had some foresight in her." Um, so pretty amazing to have that picture because it's a true time capsule. Like seeing all the stuff that I had, it's like, wow, total 1980s.
yeah, totally. And just so the listeners realize, it's not just Fords and Lamborghinis. You do have a Singer Porsche, a Ferrari F40, McLaren F1, Enzo, some more Shelbys, Viper, like you said, the BMW 2002. So pretty diverse array. Now, I will have to say, I think you're a little bit maybe Ford Shelby biased because of some cool cars your family owns. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm definitely grew up on the Ford side of things. Um, so my dad still owns. He's been in business for almost 50 years now this year. Um, Billy J Indy Custom, and he's a pinstriper, custom painter, and does restoration too. So I mean, we always had just like a crazy wide array of things in the shop, from Harley stuff to old safes, Coke coolers, and there was always a restoration project too. But it was always Fords. It was Shelby's, it was Mustangs, it was Cobras. I mean, there was a couple, maybe a Corvette sprinkled in there, or Camaro every once in a while. Uh, but my dad always had Shelby's. I mean, they brought me home from the hospital in a '66 GT 350 without a back seat.
Right.
So I was like, well, where was I? I guess they held me or something. So yeah, I just grew up around Mustangs always. Um, and I worked for my dad. Took cars all apart, cleaned the stuff, sanded it, prepped it, primed it. Dad would do all the painting and final finishing, but I would put everything back together. And I mean, I worked on multiple Mustangs and Shelbys, and they were cool. I understand those cars from the ground up. I mean, we would do like rotisserie restorations, and it was fun. I learned more than you could ever imagine doing that kind of stuff. Um, but then when I was 15 years old, it was time for me to buy a car too. And of course, my dad running in those circles with all those different car folks, um, we heard of a guy that lived just very close to us that had a barn full of Mustangs. Um, and down in the basement, he had a '67 GT Fastback, a 390 car. And we went over there and saw these cars that were in there. And he had bought them like in the mid '70s in hopes of restoring them one day, but just never got to them. So they were true barn finds. I mean, they were like covered in dust and bird crap. Um, but it was like, ooh, what? That may be a good car for me. It's like, how much do you want for it? And it was $1,600, and I spent my life savings on that car. Um, so we got it out of that barn, took it home, washed it, and spent about a year and a half restoring that car. And I just drove that car last weekend. I still have it.
Do you
So,
really? The
uh,
67?
yeah, '67 GT 390 car.
Wow. What color?
It's lime gold. Yeah, it's lime gold. So I mean, gosh, now it's quite an old restoration, but it still looks just as great as the day that we finished it, really.
That's amazing because for those of you who get my email, go down to the bottom. There's a 67 fastback, a GT that I chased. Well, didn't chase, but basically followed up on 40 years later. I found it when I was 13 at my
Wow.
grandmother's across the street, and it was the dark green. I forgot the name of it.
Island green.
Yes. And I took a picture of it back in '83. I'll throw a picture up here. And then my mother-in-law, they moved away. I always thought about the car. Then my mother-in-law ended up living down in that neck of the woods. And I got my father-in-law. I said, "Hey, you want to see if that Mustang's still out there somewhere?" And 40 years later, we found it, and it had moved, maybe a mile and a half away, and
Yeah.
it only deteriorated in the time since 1983, which was sad. And I
Wow.
knocked on the door, and I had that picture from 1983 in my hand, and I knocked on the door, and
Huh?
the guy was not impressed. I had the picture from 1983.
Really?
He was like, "Oh, that's interesting." And
Uh-huh.
the Mustang was covered up, covered with the tarp was covered with leaves and junk, and there was a British car, a Triumph, covered up next to it. And he said, "If you can guess what that British car is, I'll give you the Mustang."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I said TR6, and it
Uh-huh.
was a no, no. I said TR. I think I said TR4, and it was
Okay.
like a TR250. Like it
Sure.
was, And he's like, "Oh, you're so close," but obviously he would never have given me the Mustang.
No.
And I had lost sleep over that car
Oh,
because over 30 years I became a Mustang judge, and I was like, "Wait, that was a real fastback. Wait, that was a GT, not a GTA. That was a
sure.
four-speed stick car. What engine was in there?"
Yep.
And I thought, if that's a K code, they only made like 400 of them. So the reason I revisited and 40 years later was I had to figure out what that car was, what the engine code was.
Okay.
And that was the one year, like if it was a K code or an S code, I would have like not walking away without it.
Sure.
And that was the one year they put the GT package on the C code, the two barrel, and that's what it was.
Okay.
And so I don't want to ever see a car deteriorate, right?
No.
But anyways, it's still there. I went there about 4 months ago, and he said
Wow.
he's going to send it to a restoration shop, but
He won't.
he won't. He won't.
It's
So
been outside that long. It's like he won't do that. It's
yeah,
it's sad. There's not very many of those cars left that are barn finds like that. I mean, it's fun
right.
on YouTube watching Haggerty and stuff, and then they'll go around and they'll find one every once in a while. But where I had found my car, so in that barn was also a '69 Boss 302, a '68 Fastback, and a '66 Fastback GT. So, and my dad ended up buying all of them from him, and they're all restored to this day, and they were all like phenomenal cars that were
Yeah.
they just needed restored.
Well, tell us about the two cars that are in your parents' garage now, or at least the ones I saw at Automobilia.
Yeah, Automobilia. What I drove there, I drove a '69 Shelby GT 350 there, and that's my mom's car. So there's kind of a funny story behind that. I don't know about it's funny, but sentimental story. It's a family friend that owned that car, and he owned it since it was new, and he had it for many many years. And he lives in DC, and he's getting a little older now, and he recognizes that. But like 20 years ago, we restored that car. We restored that car to new, and I helped restore it too, which was the neat thing. So it was
And
a
just to be clear, this is like a triple white GT 500 convertible, right?
Yeah, GT 350 convertible, and
350. Okay.
it is triple white, which is quite rare because there's only two like that according to the Marty report. White interior, white top, white car. Um, and it's a convertible with the roll bar and stuff. So it's a cool cruising car. It's fun. It's a good driving car. Usually you don't drive those cars too often, not. But I drove that thing about 40 minutes to that show that day and drove it home. And it did good, did great. Um, but he gave that car to my mother last year,
Wow. Yeah.
which was very kind. He gifted it to her. So we've been getting the bugs out of it. Dad's been working on it here and there because it hadn't, after we restored it like 20 years ago, it hasn't been driven at all. So it had lots of bad fuel in it. It had a bad radiator because it sat for so long. But it's a pretty perfect car, and it's fun to drive. But the other one that he took there, he trailered that one there because he doesn't drive it very often. It's another '69 GT 350, um, but it was the only '69 Shelby that was produced with a Boss 302 engine and drivetrain. It was some kind of weird pilot program that Shelby was going to do. I think he had intentions of making like 26 of these cars. Um, so they actually pulled one off the line and built the car, and then the program was scrapped, and it never happened. But what did happen was the serial number was stamped, um, with the G 2244, and it was stamped as Shelby, but it didn't get out. Like somebody that worked at Ford like changed the serial number by one digit on the title and got the car out of Ford, and then the car existed for many years until he found it. So it's a very unique one of those one of one strange cars. But it's cool. I think it was what the Shelby was always intended to be was a high performance car. And you know as well as I that after 66, the cars just kind of went downhill into more luxurious GT cruisers. But in 69, they did have hopes of rekindling the actual performance name of Shelby with that one car, but only one was made. So the car sounds really cool, and it's faster and handles good, and it's got a lower stance because it's got the ball springs on the front and back. It's a cool car.
That's a very cool car, and you're right because I love any Shelby 65 to 70. But if you have to look at kind of the entry level ones that don't quite have the performance, I would call out the 68 350 with the J code 302, and then as well as the 69 and 70 with the base 351.
Right?
Great engines, but they're not really high revving, high performing engines.
No.
And if they had that Boss 302 engine in it, I can't even imagine. So it's cool that there's at least one of them out there that we can dream of buying.
Yeah, there's one. Yeah, like that 69 convertible that I drove. It's a dog. I mean, it's not fast at all. It's probably got like I don't know, like a three. I mean, it's real smooth and nice, but it doesn't handle great, or it's not that fast or anything. But it cruises on great.
Now,
They
I'm going
just
to
weren't
say
like
this, not knowing if it's possible or not, but I'm hoping as part of this podcast we'll have the original owner of that 1970 350 on. But if this podcast ends in 5 minutes, that means I was unsuccessful. So we'll preface it either way. And
well,
I'm
I'll hit
just
him up for it because he's an interesting one to talk to because he didn't just have that Shelby. He was also the owner of a Cobra too, a 289 Cobra,
oh wow.
and he's got plenty of stories with that thing too. I think he had two of them. Um,
Wow. No, that would be great. Now,
yeah.
what's the best way for my listeners to see your artwork and learn more about you?
Gumball-gallery.com. And then on Instagram too, look me up by my name or Gumball Gallery.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Ian, so much for being on the Collector Car Podcast.
Hey, you're welcome, Greg. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for recognizing automotive artists. I think we get forgotten about a lot, but I do appreciate you recognizing us.
Yeah, no, I try to. I try to get at least one on a couple times a year. So awesome. Thanks, man.
All right, Greg, take care.